Tokusatsu fans in North America have had a lot to chew on in the last few months, particularly in the Blu-ray and DVD category. Super Sentai, Kamen Rider, and Ultraman seem to be pumping things out at like a fast rate. And on top of that, there was a nice little Metal Hero release from Discotek. But is Space Sheriff Gavan the release to rule them all? Let's find out. It's Morphin' Time! Hello, this is Soundout here, and welcome back to another video on Tokusatsu home video releases. We've been talking about this a lot on the channel. Just last week we talked about Ultraman. Mill Creek just released 4 new sets to go with all their extended, already released Blu-rays and DVDs. There is a massive collection of Ultraman. And that's no surprise, they've been kind of running non-stop for the last couple years. Even Shout Factory's kind of picked up the pace, with Kamen Rider Kuuga and 5-Man releasing in the same month, and then an Abba Ranger DVD set that came out later that I haven't gotten yet. Money got a little tight because of Hasbro. Thing is, 5-Man and Kuuga I haven't covered yet on the channel because I want to talk about these in a particular way, and we have to wait for some things to happen first. But more on that in the future. Specifically what we're talking about today is Discotek's follow-up to their awesome Juspion release, Gavan. Gavan being the first Metal Hero show, and the first one under the Toku Time label for Discotek. This is their idea of having a branded label for their Tokusatsu releases, whether it be their sort of obscure films or the more well-known Toei series like Gavan and the forthcoming Kamen Rider Black. So is the Gavan release good? It's Discotek, it's good. But is it the best? Is it the best of what we've gotten in the last few months for Tokusatsu? Let's dive in and find out if this Gavan release is as good as it seems to be, and is it a good sign for the future of Discotek media? So before we talk about Gavan, let's talk about Discotek's first Metal Heroes release, Mega Beast Investigator Juspion, also known as Space Wolf Juspion in some areas. This was their first release and first foray into the Toei Tokusatsu series. Now, Discotek, of course, is a long-running company with anime, and they do sort of the more obscure stuff. I'm talking about them like I've talked about them on the channel before, in case this is your first video of mine related to this kind of thing. But I love Discotek because they are a small company, and they're a small team who put a lot of passion and love into everything they work on. Every single release is passionate and full of love for just media preservation or just the shows in general. And this Juspion set is no different. Now, this one was the first one released. Why'd they start with Juspion when Gavan is the first Metal Hero? Well, as admitted to in a live stream themselves, which if I had the audio I'd play it, but I don't, so you're gonna have to take my word for it, they did say that out of all the Metal Hero shows, Juspion was the cheapest to license. When I've talked about Toei licensing in the past, some people are like, what do you mean they charge insane fees? They scale the prices of their shows based on their popularity. It's a thing that you can collaborate from multiple different interviews, and of course, comments such as, Juspion was the cheapest to license. If all the Metal Hero shows cost the same, or if the whole franchise offers a bundle, I'm sure Discotek would have licensed it as such, but Juspion was the cheapest one to get. And what's really awesome about this release is it also features, while tweaked, uses the translations from the fan subs for Juspion. They credited, I believe they credited the translators of those fan subs, as well as paid for the subtracks. They had to change them up for legal. You know, Mega Beast Investigator is the official Toei prefix for Juspion, not Space Wolf. But essentially, when it comes down to it, this is sort of a nice little community release in that regard. And that's what Discotek will do. They take the extra step. So, of course, the packaging, I don't have the slipcover, even though I ordered mine from Right Stuff, it didn't come with one. Usually Discotek releases do have them, but here's the artwork. It looks nice. What's really fun about this release is that there is no Blu-ray source in Japan, so it is a nice standard definition Blu-ray. I've talked about this in the past with some of my Ultraman reviews. I would have preferred standard definition Blu-ray to DVD just because, well, one scratch-resistant Blu-ray versus 6 DVDs is preferable to me. But you can see there's some nice interior art of Juspion and his vehicle there. So really nice. You get the entire show here, which makes it really easily bingeable, which is super awesome. And it's a really, really nice release. They did the best they could with the video quality, being a show that was broadcast in SD, of course, was finished on VHS tape. Means the quality is not going to be as high as some other releases, but it looks good for what it is, and as an SD Blu-ray, you really can't go wrong with these. Discotek knows what they're doing with this, and I really do appreciate this. But ever since they released this, which I don't know if this has a copyright date for when it came out, it was a couple years ago, people have been wondering, are they going to get another metal hero? And in fact, in 2022, they released Space Sheriff Gavan. Now, this show, I think, is most well known because of its crossovers with the Super Sentai series. Gavan's newer generation self appeared in episodes of Go Busters. The original Gavan crossed over with Gokaiger. There was the Dekaranger versus Gavan movie, which used the new generation Gavan. And there was also a crossover with Dekaranger, Gavan, and Kyuranger. There also was Kyuranger versus Space Squad, which featured new generation Gavan, and Gavan was adapted as Captain Chaku for Power Rangers Beast Morphers. So I think Gavan is probably the one that Super Sentai fans would recognize the most. He is the first in the Metal Hero series, the first of the Space Sheriff trilogy, followed by Sharivan and Shaider, and he's on Blu-ray. This is absolutely an amazing release. So when I'm talking about this, and why I did a whole video dedicated to mostly just Gavan, I threw Juspion in there. This is an HD transfer. There was a Blu-ray in Japan that has an HD version, and that's the version that was used here, with some tweaks and cleanups by Discotek, because they're really, really savvy at these things. New subtitle track, looks great, sounds great. The cover art is fantastic. As you can see, we got Gavan, we got the ship with Dole docked there, and then you got Gavan's helmet, and the Discotek logo, and this new little branding called Toku Time, which is their new branding for their Tokusatsu releases at Discotek, since they're starting to do more, including the upcoming Kamen Rider Black, as well as some more obscure live-action films. But in terms of this release, you've got, wonderful cover art, beautiful artwork all over. You got a nice little bio. This does contain all 44 episodes, and because it's Blu-ray, it's across 4 discs. We can see, look at the interior art here. Looking great. So it is on 4 discs, so you've got 10 episodes per disc, pretty much. 1 to 10, 11 to 22, 22 to 33, and then 34 to 44. And that, sounds like a lot, but this is Blu-ray. This is an 80s show that was remastered to Blu-ray. You can also see in the back there's a nice picture of Gavan with the logo there, which looks really great. I love that the logo is basically just an English version of the Japanese logo. And then the other really great benefit here is that you don't just get the episodes, but you actually get legitimate bonus features. What's amazing about Discotek is that when they can do it, they will put bonus features. So what do those bonus features include? So we have a discussion with Kenji Oba and the director, which is found on disc 4. All the bonus features are. And what's really great about this is you get a sort of discussion of Gavan itself, and it was done for the Blu-ray in Japan, and it's fully translated here, which is pretty amazing because you get a nice conversation with the actor and the lead director. We have a photo gallery which contains images from one of the Gavan photo books that Mike Dent sacrificed his photo book in order to produce for this Blu-ray. He donated it to the Discotek guys so that way they could put this on the release, and it's just a whole gallery of beautiful images. Mike Dent also provided an essay on the history and the origin of Space Sheriff Gavan in the Metal Hero series. And then lastly, there's promos for the show from before it started airing. The picture quality is not only great, but the subtitles look fantastic as well, and everything is subbed, including the episode previews. So not only do you get all that, but when you put it next to Juspion on a shelf, they look like they go together. Nice, consistent spine arts, several years apart, and they look pretty great. It's nice to have 2 Metal Hero shows, and hopefully Discotek can do many, many more. So ultimately, I think the Gavan Blu-ray is great. If you're looking for it, check Right Stuff Anime. They're the official Discotek distributor. Otherwise, it's on Amazon and other places. It's absolutely worth the time and money that you want to invest in it, because the time and money that was put into making it was incredible. And the price isn't bad either. It usually runs less than $50, which is pretty good, all things considered. Having the original art gallery, having the essay, having the interview, this makes it more than just, here's your show, take it. It's actually like a full featured release. And that's kind of amazing because we don't get those very often. And Discotek is the kind of company to do that. And while I would wish that every tokusatsu could get released by Discotek in this quality, I know that that would not only take several decades, but it would also put a pressure on the Discotek team that I don't want to give them. I love the work they do, and I love their releases, and I want them to happen if they're meant to happen and if they're passionate about doing them. So hopefully we get more Metal Heroes. I personally am thinking we should just keep going forward from here. We can skip over Juspion because that's already done, but, we'll see what happens with the Metal Hero category. This is also a good sign for the forthcoming Kamen Rider Black release. Because yes, while Shout's been doing Kamen Rider, Discotek is doing Kamen Rider Black. And if this is any indication, that Black release is going to be amazing. And I'm really looking forward to that when it comes in 2023. In fact, now thinking about it, maybe the Kuga video, we need to talk about how many people Toei's licensed Kamen Rider to, because it's a little out of hand. But if you want to see that video, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out. Also check out Mondays at 5 p.m. Eastern where I live stream here on the channel, and we do different topics of the week, so stay tuned for that and ask me questions there if you have any. You can also ask me questions in the description below if you have any on Gavan, and tell me which Metal Hero series you want to see. And if you've done all that, you probably already hit the like button, but if you could hit it if you hadn't, I'd appreciate that. It helps the channel. Also, be sure to check out Hero Club at hero-club.com for Tokusatsu news, interviews, and more, and my awesome graphic designer on Twitter at darkclaw643. And until next time, this is Soundout saying, Joe Chuck!